when we first started making money when we was 12, and then even when we got started investing into real estate, it was a bad habit that we had. We started making money, but we started spending more money than we was making, or spending about the same thing. So don't upgrade your lifestyle soon as you start making money. Allow your lifestyle to catch up with your income.
Welcome to another edition of the Expose and Expand podcast show. I'm your host, Jeremy Mathis, the man with the plan. I'm your other host, Joshua Mathis. And again, guys, welcome to the Expose and Expand podcast show, where we expose you to the ideas, the strategies, the struggles, the failures, the people, and the experiences that have gotten us from zero to millions. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, what's up? We got money in the building as well. And the reason why we named money was because of today's topic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had to put my little drip on because I felt like, you know, I felt good today.
That's what you call drip?
Yeah, drippity drip drip. Yes, sir. I had to put it on.
If y'all watch it, comment and let us know if that's drip.
Yeah. Y'all see what I got on. But, you know, I felt good today. We talking about money, and this, as we know, this topic is very near and dear to us.
Yep.
For us, money is something that we've had to learn a lot of lessons on. We've had to be exposed to things that really had to change our life, that really had to change our thought process around money. And we could not talk about expose and expand, exposure leads to expansion without talking about money.
Facts.
It's a critical topic. And we talking about it today, boy. You got a little something on today.
You know, I stay dripped out, my boy.
I
But
don't know
when
about
you
all
say
that.
talking about money, what does that mean? What did we title this episode?
The money that we titled the episode "Money Mindset to Get to Millions."
Mm-hmm.
Money mindset to get to millions, and we titled that intentionally because in order to get to millions, you got to have a different mindset around money.
Fact.
Especially from how we grew up and how we were raised and where we came from. So we definitely wanted to talk about that.
So I like you said, it's so true. In order for you to first start making the money that you want to make,
Yep.
your mind first has to arrive at that destination first. So
Agreed.
if you want to be a millionaire, you need to have millionaire thoughts, millionaire habits. You need to surround yourself with people who are on the level that you are on. And I think for us, once we started to do that in our life, once we made that shift from hanging around the old friends into hanging around people that were on the level where we wanted to be, that's when we saw a shift happen in our life. That's when we started to make the money that we knew we wanted to start making. No, by no means we where we want to be,
Yeah.
but we're not where we used to be.
No, for that, that's definitely facts. As far as, you know, us talking about money, we wanted to dispel some myths and talk about, again, just the mindset that we had to get to in order for us to start making real money.
Facts.
Well, start making some money, because
Yeah.
it's always levels. As we know, it's
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah.
You know, you think you get to one level, you realize, man, we got to go. We got to get more. It's more to this.
Facts.
We can definitely go out and get more.
Facts.
And, you know, we want to just we want to start off talking about what we were told about money.
Yeah.
As kids, what we believed about money. So I'm gonna ask you, what are some things that you remember being taught about money growing up?
I think number one is my relationship with money, or our relationship with money, and what we saw growing up in our household. We never had no one in our family talk about saving or investing money. It was you make money to spend money. It was never you make money to save it. You never make money to invest it.
Yeah.
And to me, that's a broke mindset.
Yeah.
And once you start understanding that you have to not only make money, but you also have to know how to manage that money. You have to also know how to multiply that money. That's when the shift happens. But for us, that's the first thing I think that comes to mind for me. Like, we never saw anyone in our family manage money properly or multiply that money. It was always make money and spend money.
Yeah, one thing that we definitely, you talked about how people in our family, how they were with money. One thing that we had to do, which change our mindset around it, was talking about money.
Yeah.
You think about how often we was taught, don't talk about money.
Yep.
Don't talk about how much money you make. Don't talk about how much money you got in your bank account. Don't ask people about how much money they have in their bank account. And you start realizing you adopt that. We adopted that mindset growing up.
Yeah.
And then luckily we joined some groups, and we got a different set of friends, a different set of people who had different perspectives in life and who had different experiences. And they showed us y'all experiences. Oh, because I remember the first time somebody asked us when we told them, hey, we sold this house and we made money on it. How much y'all made on it? I got offended by that.
Yeah.
Like, what you mean? How much?
Yeah.
What you mean? How much money I made on it? That's my business. And I didn't say that. I was like, oh, I was hesitant to even say something, but I eventually told him how much we made, and that just started opening my mind up to, let me pay attention to when I start having conversations about money. Let me start seeing when I'm around the people that I aspire to be like, when I'm around them, how they talk about money, how they converse about it, what they talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And once I start being very intentional about paying attention, I started to realize the conversation revolves around money. First is family, how your family doing everything good. Then it instantly goes to money. What you got? What you investing in? What worked for you last year? What's working for you this year? And that was a huge mindset shift because I started to focus on it because I wasn't offended because of a moment when I got offended and I had to change my perception on money.
One thing that you said that I want to hit home on and make sure that we just don't skip over is you start hanging around people that was making the money that you wanted to make.
Yeah.
Right? In order for you to get to that next level, you need to be exposed to what the next level looks like.
For sure.
So for us, we start exposing ourselves and start hanging around people that are on the level that we wanted to get to, or that we aspire to get to.
Yeah.
Another thing that comes to mind for me as I'm sitting here talking is one of the biggest issues that we had growing up and why our relationship with money was so bad, because we was listening to people who didn't have money.
Yeah.
How can you teach me about money and you don't have money?
Yeah.
So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, the first point that I want to make is only take money advice from people that is in the money situation of where you want to be. Right? If you taking advice from somebody that don't have money, that's not in a situation, or that don't live the lifestyle that you want to live, what are you going to get?
Yeah.
The same thing of what you see them living.
Yeah.
But if you're getting if you're having money conversations, you're getting money advice from people that's where you want to be, you're one step closer of going in the direction of where you want to go.
Nah, for sure. I think for us, it's definitely on us to start changing the conversation around it.
Yeah.
We got to start talking about it more, which is when we, again, brainstorming topics, I'm like, man, this is something that was near and dear to me personally, because I realized about all my struggles and how I struggle with money because of just growing up and just seeing how people around me, how they really abuse money.
Yep.
And I say that intentionally, abuse money, because for me, once you start to really make money, have some money coming in, things they should at least shift in your life, and you should start to see the world differently.
Yep.
And that happened to us. For the longest, we had this broke, bad mentality around money. We started making some, we started changing our circle, and things became very different. Yeah. We started to learn more about different opportunities. We started to learn about tax strategies. We started to learn about different investments, because we started saying, you know what? It's all that whole notion of it's rude to talk about money. You shouldn't ask people how much money they making. That's wrong.
Yes.
That's a lie. That is wrong. That is 100% wrong. And I'm so thankful now at 32, we finally learned that. Because I would say we had that mentality up until 27, 28.
Yeah, a long time.
A long time of, just keep all of your money to yourself. I would keep all your money secrets and what's going on with your money to yourself. Don't tell nobody about it. But luckily, we got exposed to it. So
facts. And one point that you made, and it had me thinking about something, was one. I remember sometimes your greatest gift can be your greatest curse. Mom is a great giver. Yeah. She loves people more than she loves herself. Yeah. And I love that about her. Yeah. But on the opposite side of that, sometimes you see, again, her greatest gift was her being a giver, also can be her greatest curse, because sometimes she gave so much to the point where she didn't have something. Yeah. So she would put herself in a negative predicament where she had to scramble in order to make things happen. And that's why I felt like we were never able to, one of the reasons we were never able to get ahead, because she was helping other people so much before she was able to help herself. And one thing that I forgot who said this, but I heard this on a podcast before, and somebody said, you can't be a charity while you're still a charity. I can't give to you while somebody's still giving to me, while somebody's still trying to help me. So first you got to get yourself out of the charity stage, right, where you have money flowing in, where money is not even a thought, or making money is not even a thought for you. Then once you get to that level, then you can become a charity and start giving and helping other people.
So one thing I want to kind of challenge you on that is, we always say giving is a muscle. You got to exercise that muscle. I believe in that point of what you said. You before you start giving to charity, so you
can't be a charity if you're still a charity.
You can't be that. But I think that people should at least, and this is going off topic a little bit, I do think people should at least exercise the giving muscle and give something.
Oh, I agree 100%.
Okay.
I agree 100%. Like,
Okay.
and that's a great point that you made. Like, giving is a muscle, and it's a muscle that you gotta learn how to use. But don't give to a point where you put yourself into a negative financial situation where you're financially stressed out because you was giving. So,
Gotcha.
and I agree 100% what you say.
So what are some? So we talked about some things that we grew up, some of the beliefs that we had about money growing up. What are some beliefs that you think are bad in society right now that are surrounding money, or a belief that's bad in society right now about money?
A belief that is bad about money, that that you got to work hard for money. That is one of the biggest misconceptions, that you have to work hard for money. And I don't want people to hear me say that and take that the wrong way. Yes, hard work is required, but I think working smarter is more important than working harder. If you learn how to work smart for your money, you have more time to make more money so that you can multiply the money that you're making. What about you? What's one thing, or what's one myth that you think is in society, or that society has about money, that's not true?
I can save my way to wealth. I can save my way to wealth. People, we had that for the longest. Even though we didn't really see it growing up, we were taught that with other peers, other people like Uncle Raleigh, Pop, that showed us save your money, save your money. And yes, you do want to save your money. You always want to have a rainy day fund, but you also need to invest in yourself, invest into your business so that it can grow. So for me, I want people to understand that when people tell you certain things like, hey man, save your money, make sure, yes, you do that, but don't let that be a mindset that holds you back from investing in yourself to grow. The only way that we've been able to do anything that we've been able to do is we've had to make investments. When we first wanted to learn about real estate, we had to make an investment. When we first to buy buildings, we had to make investments in order for us to get cash flow. So that was a mindset that I think that needs to be debunked. When people say, okay, I can save my way to wealth, that's not going to happen. It's not happening at all.
One thing that I said this earlier when we was talking, that there's three things that you need to know and understand how to do with money. You need to know how to make it, you need to know how to manage it, and then you need to know how to multiply it. And sometimes we skip steps and figure out and wonder why we're not where we want to be. You first need to become good at making money. First, get really skilled, get really good at making money first, right? Where money is just, you're a money magnet. Money just easily comes to you. Then once you know how to make that money, you need to know how to manage that money, because it's easy to make it, but you also got to know how to manage it, how to save it, how to disperse it, how to deploy it. And then the next thing, once you understand how to manage that money, you need to start looking at ways on how you can multiply that money. How can I send my money out to the world, and then my money makes me more money? And multiplying that money helps you buy back your time as well.
Nah, for sure, multiplying your money. One of the things that we talked about was multiplying money. And multiplying money, what's one myth that you had about multiplying money growing up, or up until like 27? Because I think around 27 is when things became different for us. Is there any myths that you had about like making money, multiplying money? Because one of the things you said was hard, but is there anything else you can think of?
About multiplying money specifically?
Yeah.
Multiplying money, nothing comes to mind.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So one of the things that comes to mind when we talk about money and the mindset behind it is, one thing that people need to understand that I really want to touch on is that as you grow, your mindset around money should definitely continue to change. For us, at first, we used to always believe save. I'm gonna save my money. And then you ask yourself, okay, what are you saving it for? Again, going back to what I just said, you do need to have a rainy day fund, but save for what? I'm gonna save some money. Then I need to invest it so that I can actually start having my money work for me.
Yeah.
That's another thing that we had to understand, was that, yes, you want to work hard, you want to go out there and make money, but you also want to have your money start working for you, because we look at some of our private money lenders right now. A lot of them, they're not even using like any earned income right now to fund our deals.
Mm-hmm.
They're using all just straight cash flow from other business to fund our deals, and they're allowing that money to work for them. So that was something else that I know had to change our whole mindset and shift our focus when it came to money.
One thing that you said is rainy day fund. You said that several times. So for the person that's watching or the person that's listening, what do you have as a rainy day fund, or what would you advise the audience to have as a rainy day fund?
That is a great question. That rainy day fund depends on your risk level. It depends on your risk level, because some people will tell you 3 months, 6 months. We talked to one of our mentors. That boy said he got 5 years. Yeah. He said for 5 years, if I never make no money, I'm good. So your rainy day fund needs to be what you are comfortable with, because my rainy day fund can only be, I may be comfortable at 90 days.
Yeah.
I've heard other people say, man, if I don't have at least 6 months of operating cash flow, my whole life is over. So you got to sit down and ask yourself, what do I need for me to be comfortable? What is my risk level? What is my risk tolerance? That's how you get to come up with your rainy day fund and how in the amount.
I love it. I love it. One thing I want to talk about too is that relationship with money. I think I don't want us to skip over that as we continue on in the episode, is understanding what is our relationship with money, and then challenging the audience to think about their relationship with money.
Yeah.
And why do I have that relationship with money? Because one thing that we said earlier, and a point that I want to bring back up, is our relationship with money was so bad for such a long time. And it's because of what we experienced growing up. It's because of the things that we saw, the things that we were told growing up. So thankfully we got around the right people, and we became real intentional about changing that relationship with money, or how we view money. But what was your old relationship with money, and what is your relationship with money now?
So I don't know when it changed, but at one point growing up, you and I would say up until like 12, we were savers. We saved everything, but we weren't spending no money. All the money we made from our trash collection business, we saved it. You think about it. We never went out and brought new shoes. Instead of buying new games, we always brought used games. We always rented stuff. We up until like 12, we were savers. And then I don't know at what point it changed, but it changed where every dollar we made, we would spend it. And we were like that for a long time. But then we started to reflect on it. We had these conversations. Damn, why did we start becoming spenders? And when we started looking at it, only thing that we were exposed to were people that spent money. And that's not an excuse on them for why we had bad habits. I do believe in accountability. But just being exposed to that, we became bad spenders. And eventually we, right before the pandemic, every month, all the money we made, we would spend it. And sometimes it was on blowing money. And a lot other times it was just putting it into investments as opposed to having that rainy day fund. The pandemic hit, our rainy day fund was low. We started calling mentors like, man, we need help, this and that, this and this. And that was a huge wake-up call for us that our mindset around it has to change. It has to become different. Our relationship has to become way better with it, because if we learned how to make it. But if we wanted to multiply it, we need to get better at managing it. Me and you were not good at managing money up until like the beginning of the pandemic, and I still think we're growing in that area.
No, I agree. One thing that you said was we started up until 12, we were savers, and it made me think about what happened when we were 12 and how this relates to a lot of people in their life. When we were 12, we started to roll dice. And we started to make money, and we started to make a large chunk of money at one time. And because of that, what happens, how that relates to people's life, they start making a lot of money, and they start making a lot of money instantly. They have no wealth management. They have no money management skills. So as soon as you make it, you feel like you can go ahead and you can go out and you can spend it. So one thing that a lot of people do wrong as they start making more money is they instantly upgrade their lifestyle. Yeah. For us, when we became 12, we upgraded our lifestyle. We started buying shoes. We started buying more games. You really think about it. We started making more money, and we forgot about that saving mentality that we had. Yeah. Right. So if you're watching this and you're listening to this, guys, don't make that mistake. Learn from us. when we first started making money when we was 12, and then even when we got started investing into real estate, it was a bad habit that we had. We started making money, but we started spending more money than we was making, or spending about the same thing. So don't upgrade your lifestyle soon as you start making money.
Facts.
Allow your lifestyle to catch up with your with your income.
That's crazy. I ask myself, why do we do that? Like, why do and I'm not saying we, like everybody does it, but I would say a good chunk of the population, they make money and they instantly upgrade their lifestyle. Why do you think most people do that?
The keeping up with the Joneses. I don't want to be the one that's left behind. I'm so concerned about what other people think about me that I don't know what I think about myself.
Yeah.
So I just do what I see the other people are doing. To be real, a lot of people are sheep. They're just following. No one is stepping up and saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to live my lifestyle. Everyone is sheep. They see somebody go buy designer. They feel like they need designer. They see somebody go buy a foreign car. I need to buy a foreign car. They see somebody take their family on a lavish vacation. I need to do the same thing. You got to learn to delay that gratification. You got to learn to be able to control yourself.
Got you. So what are some money taboo topics that you would like to debunk and just tell people that they need to change their mindset around it?
We talked about making it hard. You got to work hard to make money. Another thing is, you know what? One thing that I want to debunk is I got to make it all on myself, or I got to make that money myself. We've made a large chunk of change in partnerships with other people.
Yeah.
Partnering with other people, working with other people, collaborating with other people has allowed us to make a lot of money. Yeah. And one thing for us, thankfully, we are able to get in these rooms with people who are centimillionaires, billionaires, and we hear their conversations around money, and we see that they're not working against each other, they're collaborating with each other. So at the top, everyone is collaborating. At the bottom, everyone is crabs in the bucket. So for us, once we started to say, who can we work with, who can we partner with, that's when we started to make more money, and that's when we seen another major shift in our life.
I always ask myself, where does that crab in the bucket mentality come from? I wonder, like, I just really want to go back and just, like, figure out when, like, how was it developed, who developed it, because it's usually around money when that crab in the bucket mentality starts to flare up in people's lives. So I really ask myself that all the time. So if anybody has that, leave a comment and let me know, because I definitely want to understand that crab in the bucket mentality and when it started. Another myth that I want to debunk, because we touched on it and I think we glazed over it, but we didn't really go deep into it, is knowing about how much money people are making. Now, obviously, you don't you just don't go around and ask everybody how much money they making. But if like people in your circle, I believe that you should be sharing with them how much money you're making, what you got going on, where your money's coming from, because they can give you some insight and help you see things that you don't even see. That was something that was huge for us. When we started making money, the first year we made money, we had to pay taxes. The reason why we had to pay all that money in taxes because nobody had explained to us, hey guys, here's some things that you can do to offset your taxes. We had to go through the valley. It was a valley when we got that first big tax bill. That big boy came smiling at us, and then we was like, oh man, like we got ourselves into a bad situation because we didn't save for taxes, because that's a money mindset that, again, nobody's talking about it. If nobody's talking about it, and you don't know about it, what you do? So you get caught in the storm. How we got caught into a storm when we had our first tax bill. So it's just, I think people need to be telling people what you got going on, how much money you're making, and how you can save in taxes, because those are things that are not talked about, but all that is centered around money. Centered around, oh, it's rude to talk about it. You shouldn't talk about it.
One point that I want to make is the people that sit around and they wait, well, I'm about to get my taxes. If you getting a tax refund, you doing something wrong.
Not necessarily.
You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. Not necessarily, but what I'm saying is don't bank on your life being based around the tax refund that you're going to get.
Yeah.
Right? Our conversations is not about, how do I get a tax refund? The conversations in the circles we're in, how do we save money? How do I not pay Uncle Sam?
Yeah.
Right? How can I get some depreciation? How can I move money here so I'm not I'm not trying to send Uncle Sam that money.
Yeah.
Right. So to your point, yes, a tax refund is not a bad thing, but don't bank on that one thing that happens in your life as to making that, I guess, the best part of your year.
You think about how many people make that the best part of their year.
Yeah.
They look forward to tax. I got to go sit in the long line. I got to wait to get my taxes filed because I need this back. And luckily, part of this show is talk about exposure. You think about how many people haven't been exposed to the conversation that we've been exposed to. I do think that those conversations are starting to get out there, but people need to start putting it out there and just start looking for different type of conversations.
Yeah.
And understanding that every year I'm looking forward to the same thing. That's a problem. Every year I'm looking forward to the same thing. That is a problem, that every year you're looking forward to, okay, how much money am I going to get back in taxes? That's a real problem that people need to start understanding it. That's a problem. And if you are getting money back on taxes, it should be because your investment strategy helped you do that, not because you worked the job and you overpaid. It's two different things. One thing is, okay, I'm overpaying. The other one is, okay, I made a lot of investments into real estate, hard assets that I get to depreciate. I get to offset my income, and then that's how I got my money back. It's two different conversations.
No, facts. One thing that I want to talk about that needs to be talked about is, one, as we know, we have a lot of friends that play in the NFL, professional athletes. And it's not even just professional athletes. Anyone that comes from the hood, that comes from the communities that we come from, you make it out and you instantly become the rich uncle or the rich cousin, or you become the Bill Gates of the family. And one of the things that I want to talk about is, why do you think that happens? And how do we change that?
So you asked the question, why do I think that happens? How do we change that? It's been passed down from generation to generation. People make it out and they feel guilty for making it out, and they feel like they owe people back home something. You don't owe nobody nothing. You don't. You don't owe your mama a house. You don't owe her a car. You don't owe your auntie them anything for making out. Because at the end of the day, in order for you making out, there has to be work that you had to put in order for that to happen. So often I think that it was been glamorized that, okay, I'm gonna buy my mama a house, I'm gonna buy my mama a car, I'm gonna do this, I have to do this. That's all cool if you can afford to do it and it won't hurt your pockets at all. But in our society, at least in our community, let me not say society, in our community, people look at it as, I need to do this. You don't need to do that. That is a bad money habit. That is a bad money myth that you've been taught from somebody else. That is a belief that needs to be challenged. You don't have to do that. There is no law that says you have to. I think people go broke for spending money that they don't even have, and that's part of it.
Yeah. And one thing that people don't understand, when you get in that situation where you're the financial breadwinner for your family, I'm talking about your entire family, not just mom and dad, sister, brother, wife, whatever, your entire family, you got to understand that by you giving them money every time they ask for it, you handicap them.
Yeah.
And you don't want to handicap your family, because what happens, your family or your friends, because what happens every time they get into a situation, they know, oh, I can call such and such, I can call Josh, I can call Jerm, because I know they're going to come through. Nah, sometimes people got to go through that pain. Sometimes people got to go through that fire. Yeah. And if you're listening to this and you're that person in your family looking to go to that next level, right, one of the best things I think that we did, a habit that we learned early on, is learning how to say no.
Yeah.
Learning how to say no, right? That is a superpower. Being able to say no, being able to say, nah, I ain't got it right now.
Yeah.
And not feeling guilty about it, or not feeling hurt about it.
Yeah.
You worked hard for that money.
Yeah.
You got to be smart with that money.
Yeah. One thing, so I want to be very, very clear on this. You know, you brought up some of our buddies that play in the league, in the NFL, and how people in the NFL feel as though, not necessarily in the NFL, but in our community, they feel as though once they make it, they owe people. One thing that I think our friends in the NFL have taught us.
Yeah.
All of them boys, they've taught us, I don't owe you nothing. I don't owe you nothing.
I ain't got it.
I ain't buying you nothing.
Yeah.
I don't got to buy you nothing. And they don't feel bad about it. We had to learn that from them.
Yeah.
It wasn't in the rooms and all this other stuff that we be in. It was from them boys.
Yeah.
Where we learned that I don't owe you anything just because you see my bank, or just because you see what you think I got paid on TV. I don't owe you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to make a clear point about that's something that we had to learn from them.
Yeah.
Because we had that mentality. Like once we started making money in real estate, we felt like we had to help people. We felt like we had to go above and beyond and do more than we really needed to. But just seeing how them boys operated, it was like, man, I gotta stretch this bread out. I gotta make this bread last. We like, wait, we do gotta look at this way different.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say thank you to all of them because that was a huge mindset shift for us. Think about it. Think about it. It was big. It was a big thing that happened for us. So talking about money, we talking about how our mindset changed. We are very intentional about the dads that we are and the people that we are becoming. Like I think me and you do a great job of living life with intention. And part of that is making sure we're giving lessons to our kids that they can learn now and take throughout their entire life. So what are some lessons that you're instilling in your kids around money and the mindset they need to have with it?
Well, number one, me and the kids, as you know, we do affirmations every morning. It's not talking about just them internally. It's their view on what money is, how to make money, what's the asset, what's the business, what's ROI, what's liability. So having those conversations earlier, that's number one. Like in our households, if you're not talking about money to your kids, you're doing your kids a disservice. So my kids understand that, hey, if I give you money, you need to, and they have their own allocations. We're going to put 20% to saving. We're going to put 25% to investing. And then the rest of it, you can go ahead and you can spend it. So that's number one, just having conversations daily about money with the kids. Mm-hmm. Another thing that I just heard, shout out to Joe, the pool guy, he gave me another idea, and he was just saying, dude, I took my kids out of town, and I let them pay for everything. I let them pay for the dinner, I let them pay for the hotel, I let them pay for the flights, and they started to see like, man, this stuff is expensive. He said I gave them $1,000. $1,000 was gone in one day.
Yeah. So
sometimes you gotta allow the kids to experience that. You gotta expose them to the price of things so they start seeing things differently and they start becoming more appreciative.
One thing that you talked about was allocating and how you're teaching the kids about how to, when you make money, a percentage goes here, a percentage goes there, a percentage goes there. That's something that I wish we learned so much early in life, because you think about, for us, me and you were not the best stewards of money. We were not the best managers of money. And once we started making it at first, we hired a fractional CFO. The first thing he made us do, guys, we're going to create allocation buckets. What do you mean we're going to create allocation buckets? We're going to create allocation budgets for operating, for taxes, for this. We created those different buckets, right? That made us better business owners, but we had to wait until 28 until we hired a fractional CFO. You're doing that with your kids now, a 6-year-old and an 11-year-old. How much further ahead are they because you're being intentional with creating these allocation buckets?
Let's take it a step further. Remember when we were in college and you was coaching the middle school team?
Yep.
I would never forget this story that you told me. And there were 2 kids on the team, and one of the kids was selling an item to, I think it was selling some shoes to another kid. So the one kid, and you're listening, they're in the 7th grade having this conversation, 6th grade having this conversation, and you're sitting there, you're telling me the kid was like, yeah, I paid $70 for $60 or $70 for the shoes. I can sell them for $110. My return on my investment is going to be X amount. And then in 6th grade, he's having that conversation. You was in college and you didn't even know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
You didn't even know what a 6th grade kid was talking about. Yeah. Right? So just like to your point, how much further along is that kid going to be simply because his family is having money conversations every day? Yeah. We're talking about how to make money, how to invest money, what's the return on investment, how to look at an investment.
Yeah. One thing that, just touching more on this topic of allocation, I want to help people understand what are some allocation buckets that they need to set up for their life. Mm-hmm. So meaning, I get money that comes into my bank account, I get my paycheck, I get money from a project that I sold, or however I get money. I get $100,000 in. How do I allocate it? What are some buckets that you believe that people need to set or need to have when it comes to allocating their funds?
Number one, you want to have an investment fund where you're putting a certain percentage of the money that you're making, it needs to go into an investment account. Now, my allocation may be different from someone else's allocation, but the point is investing is a muscle, and you got to exercise that muscle. So when you're making money from your earned income money, you want to make sure that you're putting a certain percentage, whether it's 2%, 5%, 10%, 20%, whatever you can afford to put it in that investment bucket. Another bucket is savings. You want to make sure that you have some savings, and savings is that reserve account. So God forbid something happens where you can't make money. You got to understand, okay, how much of a savings or how much of a reserve account do I want to have so that God forbid something happens, I'm protected, my family's protected.
So you gave us only 2 buckets, and I started writing down our buckets. Like I just started thinking, okay, what are our buckets? You talked about one, which is savings. You need to determine what's your risk level and how much money you want to save. So if your operating expenses are $10,000 a month and you want to have 6 months of reserve, that means you need to have $60,000 savings. You're talking about investments. You got to determine what percentage of your income you want to dedicate to investments. Other buckets that people need is taxes. Mm-hmm. When you start making money, it becomes different. Some of that money ain't coming out of your paycheck. It ain't coming out your pay stub. Mm-hmm. It's gonna come out at the end. It's gonna come out at the end of the year. So you definitely need a bucket for taxes. Another one that you need a bucket for is your bills, your operating account. Mm-hmm. Every month, you need to be looking, how much is my bills? What is my light bill? What is my car note, my insurance? You need to have a bucket for that. Another bucket that you need to have is what we call our profit account. Our profit account is something where it made us become better managers of money, because we wanted to have that profit account, because all of the other buckets, not all, except investment and taxes, but your main buckets, you're going to be pulling out those buckets every single month. Your profit account, we didn't pull out that profit account until every quarter. Why? We wanted to get it built up so that we know at the end of the quarter, that's that play money. Mm-hmm. That's that play money. And for us, one thing that works so well, when we work with our CFO about creating these buckets, we put percentages on it. So you have to determine if your monthly income is $10,000, that's 100% of the pie. You need to start divvying up, and that's when we say create buckets. What percentage is going to taxes? Probably want to save 3%, 3 to 5% for taxes. What percentage is going to investment? Probably want to put 3% towards investments. For your bills, you probably, depending on where you are in life, you want to be between 30 to 50%. That's that bucket. For your profit account, we kept the profit account small because we wanted to build up in our savings. So our profit account was 3%. But depending on where you are, that profit account can be 10%. And you tell yourself at the end of the month or at the end of the quarter, I get to pull from that profit account. So I wanted to give people like very tangible buckets that they can go, after listening to this, go and create and start becoming better managers of money.
But one point I want to hit on, thank you for bringing that up, is, guys, once you implement these investment allocations and you stick to it, I promise you, you're going to feel so much better about yourself, about your family, about your business, everything that's happening in your life. Because for us, we were excited about that profit account at the end of the quarter. We started creating personal goals with what we're going to do with that money we got from the profit account. We started saying like, hey, I want to take the kids on a trip. Okay, boom. This is the type of trip I want to take them on. It's going to cost me $5,000 to take them on this trip. Yeah. Okay, I need to make sure that we have enough profit in that profit account for me to not only take them on the trip, but then also being able to reward ourselves. Yeah. We work hard, so we could take some of that money and allocate it to things that we want to do, whether it's hobbies, whether it's going out and we live in the crib. Yeah. We like to have a good time. Yeah. Your boys love to go out, right? We could take that money from that profit account and go out and enjoy the fruits of our labor.
For sure. So
the last thing that I want to really talk about too is just making sure you're around the right people, or making sure you're around people who are on the level where you want to be and who can help you look at money differently. And I just wrote this down, where, shout out to Lopez. I don't know if you remember, we was in his office when they was in Sunrise, and we were looking through some odd numbers for our flips. And he said, guys, tell me your numbers. So we started breaking it down. This is what it costs to acquisition cost. This is what this costs. This is what it costs to borrow money. So then we started to look and we started to break down our business. And he was like, because we said, you know what, the acquisition cost, the cost to acquire a house was becoming too much. And once we looked at it and we broke down our numbers, he said, no, guys, you're spending too much money on, or you're paying too much on the money that you're borrowing. Because at the time, let's say we was borrowing money at 12, 13%. And he said, guys, if you can just get that money from 12 to 13% down to 8 to 9%, you bring an extra 200 grand to your bottom line.
Yeah.
So being able to have that conversation with somebody who looks at money differently, he helped us completely shift our business, completely shift the way that we raise money.
Yeah. All from that one conversation. But that's why we want to continue to have these conversations. You know, our whole goal for this show is to expose people to the ideas, the failures, the struggles, the strategies, and the people that have gotten us from zero to millions. And one of the things for us to get from zeros to millions was to definitely change our entire mindset around money.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, whatever your mindset is around money, whatever you believe, ask yourself, is that your belief? Is that somebody else's belief? And how can you become better? How can you become a better steward of what you've been blessed with? How can you become a better manager and a better manager of your money so that you can start to make more, and then you can start to multiply.
No, so you said it all. My last thing, or the last point that I want to make, is just helping people understand the importance of just financial literacy and like learning about money every day. Every day, set a goal for yourself to learn something new about money. And I guarantee at the end of the year, if you learn 365 new things about money, you'll be in a better situation financially. So challenge yourself, challenge those around you to learn something new about money every day.
That's good. So guys, that's our show for today. We talked about the money mindset to get the millions. Again, we have our gentleman's agreement, and our gentleman's agreement is, you know, we put a lot of effort, time, and energy into this show. And one thing that we look at is, are we growing, where we're growing at? So wherever you are, if you're on Apple, follow us. Be sure to subscribe on Apple, leave a review. But the main thing that we want you to do is go to our YouTube page, Expose and Expand YouTube page, and subscribe to the YouTube page. Leave some comments, leave some reviews. We look at all of them. That's why one of the things that we did was, some of you guys said, we had to break up the wall a little bit. The wall was cool. Looking at the comments on our YouTube channel, we decided to add some more trees. So guys, again, the gentleman agreement is go on YouTube, subscribe, like the videos, let us know your biggest takeaways, and we'll really appreciate it.
Yeah, you said it all, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Like Jerem said, man, we'll really appreciate if you guys honor that gentleman's agreement. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share, leave us a review. But most importantly, share with somebody else. If you got value for this episode, expose somebody else to these money conversations. Again, thank you guys for listening. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Peace.
Peace. Expose and expand.